Hey folks, Garry McNeilly here from Kojac Consulting, helping business with technology since 1997. I want to thank you for dropping by the Technical Toolbox today. I developed the Technical Toolbox with a series of tips, tricks, and solutions to help your business with technology. Today's topic is how to effectively back up your data to more than one location. The reason that we want to back our data up to more than one location is in the event of a hard drive crash, loss of equipment, network corruption, viruses, and the list goes on. So I want to start off by using what I call the 1-2-3 rule for a successful backup. What every business and person should know. The reason that we back our data up on a weekly, monthly, daily basis is in the event of corruption. Lost data and the reproduction of data is costly. So the simplest way to remember how to back up your data and documents safely and effectively is to use the 1-2-3 rule. This works in a network environment or on a standalone system. So let's start off with rule number 1. Your original data should be stored on your local computer, laptop, or on your server. You want to store all your data on your server, especially in a network environment. This is done because you want to back up your data from one central location. You don't want to have everyone on the network having different file revisions, different file types, and in the event of a catastrophe, no one knows where the files are located and who's worked on what. So, as a result, we do want to back it up to one central location. Let's move on to rule number 2. Now, rule number 2 is the backup process. And the backup process should be automated. You should have a second copy stored in a secondary location. This can be stored on an external USB drive, which most of external USB drives now come with external backup software to back up your data, your files, your emails, things of that nature. You can also use what they call a network address storage unit. This is referred to as a NAS. Or you can use a storage area network, which is called a SANs. SAN is usually used in larger organizations for data backup and centralized storage of data. Or you can simply use a secondary hard drive on your server. Not recommended, but it is an option. So let's move on to option number 3, our step number 3 or rule number 3. We now have our original copy on our local machine. A secondary copy backed up to your USB drive, your NAS, your SAN, or a secondary hard drive on your server. But this is not enough. So what we want to do now is use rule number 3 and back up our data off-site. Now, the reason that we want to take our data off-site is in the event of a hardware failure, hard drive failure, network failure, loss of equipment, data corruption, or viruses. So, rule number 3 dictates that off-site storage is a great solution. There are many off-site storage solutions in the marketplace now. And as part of a good redundancy strategy for off-site data backup, it's always a good option. Safe, secure, and reliable, as well as being cost-effective. While choosing your off-site storage solution, make sure that the data is encrypted getting to your off-site location. Now, these programs run in real time when your computers become idle or your servers become idle, or depending on the solution you choose, they can also be scheduled for daily, weekly, or monthly backups, or even hourly backups, depending on the strategy that you have in place. Now this does actually require a little bit of pre-planning to make sure that you have the correct data being backed up, you have enough storage space, and it works within your budget. So these are some of the contributing factors when looking for offsite storage. So let's move on to an example of how the 1-2-3 rule for a successful backup works. Let's go back to our first rule. That's rule number 1. We have a single computer or a single laptop, and that's where your data would originally reside. In a networking environment, it would sit on your data server, as seen just above rule number 2. Now, once we have our original copies or our working copies in either our local computer or on our server, we also now want to back it up to the appropriate solution that we've chosen, using a network address storage unit, which is referred to as a NAS, storage area network, referred to as a SAN, or it can be backed up to an external USB drive. These solutions are depending on how much space you have, your backup requirements, how often you need to back up, and in some industries there are compliance regulations, so be careful during your planning process for rule number 2. Once we've backed up our original data from rule number 1, and rule number 2 dictates that data should be in a secondary location in a backup scenario, we also want to look at rule number 3. Now, rule number 3 is off-site storage, or can be backed up to somewhere in what they call the cloud. Now, the reason that you want to have rule number 3 for the off-site storage is in the event that there are corruption or problems within your network, or you've lost your original computer, or you have a virus issue. Rule number 3 allows us to go to our offsite backup for data recovery. I've seen situations where hardware has been stolen from organizations and all their data is gone. So having rule number 3 would allow you to set a new network up and recover your data and therefore continue business. If you'd like more information on a successful backup, it's available at www.kojac-consulting.com. My name is Garry McNeilly, and since 1997 I've been helping business with technology. If you'd like to get in touch with me, please feel free to email me at info@kojac, Kojac-consulting.com, or you can reach me at area code 905-665-3394. This presentation is part of the Technical Toolbox series, a series of tips, tricks, and solutions designed to help your business with technology. Thanks for your time, and again, my name is Garry McNeilly.